Hello and welcome everybody. Today we're going to have a discussion about David replacing Saul. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, so let's have a look. There was one stage that the people chose King Saul. So he was a guy that was head and shoulders above the rest. So he was, a, I would say, a good man to look at in the sense of he was big, he was strong, he was, hey, this is the guy. This is the guy that is going to bring our troubles to an end. This is a guy that we can look up to, literally and figuratively. So that was a decision that the people also made. They accepted it. But what happened eventually was King Saul lost his kingdom. So if we just have a look at a few pointers, King Saul did not listen to the instructions, especially from the prophet. And Samuel was a prophet where none of his words or his prophecies that were spoken fell to the ground. That is what the scripture says. So that means that everything that he said came to pass. He had 100% accuracy rate. He was spot on. Now, King Saul, many times over, did not listen. But the problem is not only that he did not listen, it was he did not have any remorse. The remorse that he had was like, okay, I'm sorry, more sorry that I am caught than sorry, yes, I did make a mistake. And a lot of people, when they, I can say, reach success, or when they reach the point that they wanted to achieve, their attitudes change. If you're in survival mode, your mentality is a survival mentality. When you are a mentality to achieve and to overcome and to progress, that is another mentality. And then when you've reached what you wanted to reach, it is basically a freedom mentality in the sense of you don't feel you have to. You have a lot less things on your mind that you have to do, and your mind is free. Now, when you've reached that point, it is very, very important to still be obedient to the Lord, because a lot of people think, I've made it. I am here. I've accomplished. That is it. My goal has been fulfilled. Now, I'm on top of the world. So, I believe that is the attitude that King Saul had. But there was times that God helped King Saul. And this is where I want you to focus clearly. The Lord sent David to feed Goliath. Now remember, when Saul was in trouble, Goliath came and he challenged the armies of Israel. But David also heard that he's challenging the armies of God. And David stepped up, killed killed the giant, and brought massive relief, massive breakthrough. Remember, Saul was still king. He was still there. But now the hearts of the people started to change. You see, I don't think King Saul was in that spot of disobedience. But the Lord sent somebody to him. Now, a lot of times in your life, the Lord is going to send you people that's going to help you. The Lord's going to send you people that's going to bring breakthrough. But the challenge is not to be replaced by them. In the case of King David, King David listened what the Lord said. He went through his tests, his trials, very difficult, was prosecuted by the king. The king wanted to kill him. The king hunted him many times over, but he couldn't kill him because the hand of God was over David. There is for me another part of evidence that the Lord definitely protects those he chooses, those with a big, great calling. So, and anyway, to move on, then eventually the people loved David more than Saul. So they loved the solution more than the what was on the table. And because Saul's heart did not change, he went into trouble. He started to get I would say, a bad attitude towards the Lord. Especially, remember, if you had a bad attitude towards the prophet, it was the same as to the Lord, because he was the mouthpiece of the Lord. So, now Saul is in trouble. What does he do? He carries on with his style. Eventually, King David replaces King Saul. Now, that is what the Lord said. Don't let your solution, don't let your breakthrough replace you. So when the Lord sends somebody to you, they can replace you. But it's not a battle between flesh and blood. I want you to see the principles behind this. You must stay the person who God created you, in the sense of delivering, in the sense of staying the same focused person. When you are focused, when you are doing what you're supposed to do, you will keep on receiving breakthrough. You will keep on pushing on. You will keep on gaining ground. Eventually, David was only king over a small section, over Judah, and then eventually the whole of Israel, because he was faithful. Saul weren't faithful. And that is what I want you to see, is that the faithfulness of David, his relationship with the Lord, brought him a kingdom that was established. It brought unity, it brought breakthrough. So, when you feel you are there and you make a mistake, don't harden your heart. Don't think you are on top of the world. You can fall down very quickly. You can lose it all. Keep a mindset of humility, faithfulness, endurance in your relationship with the Lord. Because sometimes you're going to feel like, well, maybe I don't need the Lord anymore. Remember, God does not tempt you or allow you to be tempted above your abilities. But when your abilities are great, your temptations and your trials will be great as well. So, you think, oh, okay, no, I will definitely not make the wrong decision. I've seen it in many, many people's lives. I can say the choice of doing right and doing wrong remains the same, even if you are on top of let's say you're one of the best ministers. Their temptation is the same, to serve God and not to serve God. Because they've been serving God for so long doesn't mean that the choices they make is easy. It is a easy choice, meaning you know what is right and what is wrong. But in your temptation is the same level as let's say, your argument to serve the Lord. So constantly, every day, you still need to make that decision. When trials come, when tests come, I'm going to stay faithful to you, Lord. I'm going to stay faithful to you, Lord. And then remember, the more you rank up, also your trials and testing rank up. Because let's say you are a bodybuilder, you started off with 10 kilogram weights. You're not going to remain on those weights for your whole life, because your muscles are not going to grow. You eventually, as you progress, so does your weights. It remains a challenge, because the challenge is what shapes you, what builds you, but it can also break you. Because a lot of times people try too much, or they're not obedient in following the right steps. Don't make the same mistake, but rather enjoy the breakthrough that the Lord has sent you. Imagine what kingdom it would have been when Saul really worked with David. They could have built a massive kingdom in the sense of Saul still being part of it. Eventually, in Solomon's time, the Lord made the kingdom great, meaning there was a lot of riches, there was peace in the land, all of those things. And I believe the Lord wants us to experience that. But He wants us to experience it, not our grandchildren or our great grandchildren, that the breakthrough that we obtain is just for them. It is for us and for them. We are in this kingdom, and I believe the Lord wants us to enjoy His kingdom. There is work, there is challenges, there is trials. Work through them. Keep your mentality, even though you progress, even though you feel you're successful. You'll always need the Lord. And I know a lot of you say, yeah, it's an easy choice. But if that day comes, still keep on with the right choices. Father, I pray that we'll choose you time and time and time again, in the good times, in the difficult times. I pray, Lord, that we'll have a humble heart, that we'll be obedient to your words, your instructions, that we'll listen to you, that we'll follow what you want us to have and do what you want us to do. I thank you for your great love and your great mercy in our lives. I pray for all of my friends, Lord, that you'll bless them, that you'll give us breakthroughs, that you will help us be established in your kingdom. I thank you for that in Jesus' mighty name. Be blessed.